I am Iron Man. I'm sorry, kid. You did good.
So now you're just gonna leave me here, like my dad?
Yeah. Wait, you're guilt-tripping me, aren't you?
I'm cold.
I can tell. You know how I can tell? Because we're connected.
What the hell? What just happened? Please tell me nobody kissed me. We won. All right, hey. All right, good job, guys. Let's just not come in tomorrow. Let's just take a day. You ever tried shawarma? There's a shawarma joint about 2 blocks from here. I don't know what it is, but I want to try it.
We're not finished yet.
And then shawarma after.
I'm sorry, Earth is closed today. You better pack it up and get out of here.
I need to concentrate here for a second. Come on, Max.
Dude, you're embarrassing me in front of the wizard.
I'm sorry, I can't, or he won't.
It's all right.
I don't.
Hey, stand down. Keep an eye on him. Thank you.
Yes, for the moment I'm not dying. Thank you.
What do you mean you're not dying? Did you just say you're dying?
That you? No, I'm not anymore.
What's going on?
I was going to tell you I didn't want to
You were
alarm
gonna tell me you really were dying?
You didn't let
Why
me.
didn't you tell me that?
I was gonna make you an omelet and tell you.
Hey.
Language. Yeah. Think we lost the element of surprise.
Wait a second. No one else is going to deal with the fact that Cap just said language?
I know.
Just slipped out.
Jarvis, drop my needle.
Dashing through the snow.
Will declare a national emergency when he signs this bill. Do you still plan to file a legal challenge if and when he does that, and how quickly?
Did I ever say I was filing a legal challenge?
You said Democrats.
I may. That's an option, and we'll review our options. But it's important to note that when the president declares this emergency, first of all, it's not an emergency, what's happening at the border. It's a humanitarian challenge to us. The president has tried to sell a bill of goods to American people. But putting that aside, just in terms of the president making an end run around Congress, here he said, let us respect what the committee will do, and then he walks away from it. But in any event, the president is doing an end run about Congress, about the power of the purse. You've heard me say over and over again, Article 1 the legislative branch, the power of the purse, the power to declare war, many other powers listed in the Constitution, and, of course, the responsibility to have oversight. So the president is doing an end run around that. We will review our options. We'll be prepared to respond appropriately to it. I know the Republicans have some unease about it no matter what they say, because if the president can declare an emergency on something that he has created as an emergency, an illusion that he wants to convey, just think of what a president with different values can present to the American people. You want to talk about a national emergency? Let's talk about today, the one-year anniversary of another manifestation of the epidemic of gun violence in America. That's a national emergency. Why don't you declare that emergency, Mr. President?
Ann Coulter, I don't know her. I hardly know her. I haven't spoken to her in way over a year. But the press loves saying Ann Coulter. Probably if I did speak to her, she'd be very nice. I just don't have the time to speak to her. I would speak to her. I have nothing against her. In fact, I like her for one reason. When they asked her, like right at the beginning, who's going to win the election? She said, Donald Trump. And the two people that asked her that question smiled. They said, you're kidding, aren't you? Nope, Donald Trump. So I like her. But she's off the reservation, but anybody that knows her understands that. But I haven't spoken to her. I don't follow her. I don't talk to her. But the press loves to bring up the name Ann Coulter. And you know what? I think she's fine. I think she's good, but I just don't speak to her.
Crime reporting statistics, numbers from your own Border Patrol, numbers from this government show that the amount of illegal immigrants are down. There is not violence on the border. And that
there's
most
not violence on the
there's
border?
not as much violence
Oh, really?
as. Let me,
you had
wait a minute,
26 people.
Let me finish the
killed.
question, please. Let me finish the question.
2 weeks
please.
ago, 26 people were killed in a gunfight on the border.
I understand what you're
saying.
saying.
A mile away from where I went.
I was there. I understand. That's not the question. The question is,
do we forget about that?
No, I'm not forgetting about it. I'm asking you to clarify where you get your numbers, because most of the DEA crimes reporting statistics that we see show that drugs are coming across at the ports of entry, that illegal immigration is down, and the violence is down. Okay. So what do you base your facts on?
Come on, let's go.
Secondly...
No, you get one. You get one.
Well, the second question is...
Sit down. Sit down.
Could you please answer?
Sit down. You get one question. I get my numbers from a lot of sources, like Homeland Security, primarily. And the numbers that I have from Homeland Security are a disaster. And you know what else is a disaster? The numbers that come out of Homeland Security, Kirsten, for the cost that we spend.
I think that maybe I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Twitter.
Tweet by the president this morning saying that much of the bad blood with Russia is caused by what he said is the fake and corrupt Russia investigation.
Trump, in an obscure manner, tweeting about the conversation. He writes, asked him how Rocket Man is doing.
Very special obligation.
Shortly after the Senate confirmation of William Barr as Attorney General, The Guardian reports Matt Schlapp, who chairs the American Conservative Union and whose wife Mercedes is the White House Director of Strategic Communications, posted a tweet which raised quite a few eyebrows. He wrote, "Tomorrow will be the first day that President Trump will have a fully operational confirmed Attorney General. Let that sink in. Mueller will be gone soon." Among the reactions, a CNN legal analyst tweeted that he's suggesting that Trump or Barr will fire Mueller now that Barr is confirmed. Barr was sworn in shortly after the Senate vote. The New York Times notes, Barr brings a new chapter for a department that has been battered by criticism from President Trump. The president lost confidence in and publicly scorned his first Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, after he recused himself from overseeing the Russia investigation.
Trump attacked former FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe on Thursday in the wake of the damning claims McCabe makes in his upcoming book. Trump wrote, "Disgraced FBI Acting Director Andrew McCabe pretends to be a poor little angel when in fact he was a big part of the crooked Hillary scandal and the Russia hoax. A puppet for leaking James Comey IG report on McCabe was devastating, part of insurance policy in case I won. And many of the top FBI brass were fired, forced to leave, or left. McCabe's wife received big dollars from Clinton people for her campaign. He gave Hillary a pass. McCabe is a disgrace to the FBI and a disgrace to our country. Make America great again." The tweet comes shortly after CBS released a portion of McCabe's interview.
McCabe describes extraordinary measures Justice Department officials took after Comey's firing. He says he was concerned about the president's possible ties to Russia.
In the book, McCabe also compared Trump's behavior to that of a mob boss, notes The Guardian. McCabe was fired in March 2018 in a controversial move by the administration just days before he was eligible to retire. Istanbul, Turkey, reportedly experienced a 50-day-long magnitude 5.8 earthquake in the summer of 2016, but it went entirely unnoticed at the time. According to The Guardian, it was a sort known as a slow earthquake that, rather than releasing its energy all at once, spreads it out over time. They tend to occur at more stable areas along fault lines and involve gradual tectonic plate movements. The Daily Mail reports that the quake may have gone undetected if it hadn't been for a team of scientists who happened to have measuring instruments set up at the time and unwittingly recorded the quake. While that particular earthquake didn't cause any damage or disruptions, one of the researchers does note that it could have brought other parts of the fault closer to failure. Called the North Anatolian Fault, that line has produced a number of devastating events, including the 1999 Izmit quake, which claimed more than 17,000 lives. A couple in Corpus Christi, Texas, recently found a 55-year-old message in a bottle on the Padre Island National Seashore. It's a place they frequent to search for beach glass and other interesting objects, so they were quite thrilled when they found this particular treasure. According to NOAA Fisheries, the note inside was actually a postcard asking that the finder provide information about where and when the bottle was found and then mail it in. NOAA reports the bottle is one of 7,863 bottles that were released in the northwestern Gulf of Mexico from February 1962 to December 1963 by scientists at the Galveston Laboratory of the U.S. Bureau of Commercial Fisheries, now known as NOAA Fisheries. They were part of a study to determine the role that water currents play in the movement of young shrimp from offshore spawning grounds to inshore nursery grounds. Recent annual physical at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center, President Trump has been declared to be in very good health overall. Dr. Sean Conley, physician to the 72-year-old president, said in a letter released on Thursday, "I performed and supervised the evaluation with a panel of 11 different board-certified specialists." The letter continues, "After taking into account all the laboratory results, examinations, and specialist recommendations, it is my determination that the president remains in very good health overall." He also shared some specific health info, noting that Trump measured at 6 feet 3 inches tall and weighed in at 243 pounds. He has gained 4 pounds since his last year's physical. Last year, Dr. Ronnie Jackson commented on Trump's weight.
"We discussed diet, exercise, and weight loss. He would benefit from a diet that is lower in fat and carbohydrates and from a routine exercise regimen."
Photojournalist is speaking out against President Trump's recent use of her award-winning image to criticize her nation's leadership. The picture was part of a recently tweeted graphic that read, 40 years of corruption, 40 years of repression, 40 years of terror. The regime in Iran has produced only 40 years of failure. The long-suffering Iranian people deserve a much brighter future. The New York Times reports that photographer Yalda Moeri said, "I felt cheated and abused. It causes me great sorrow to see the man who is inflicting so much pain upon me and my compatriots to use my image for his own agenda. I did not take this risk to have someone using it to pressure us Iranians even further." According to ABC News, the photo was taken in 2017 amidst civil unrest in Tehran. Those protests left thousands jailed and no fewer than 21 people dead. Acting FBI Director Andrew McCabe has revealed in a CBS interview that after former FBI Director James Comey's firing, there were discussions at the Department of Justice about the possibility of removing President Trump using the 25th Amendment. CBS News' Scott Pelley shared details from the interview with McCabe ahead of his book release, The Threat: how the FBI protects America in an age of terror and Trump.
There were meetings at the Justice Department in which it was discussed whether the vice president and a majority of the cabinet could be brought together to remove the president of the United States under the 25th Amendment.
Back in September, the New York Times reported, citing a source, the Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein suggested last year that he secretly record President Trump in the White House to expose the chaos consuming the administration, and he discussed recruiting cabinet members to invoke the 25th Amendment to remove Mr. Trump from office for being unfit.
From Congress.
After President Trump called for her resignation over controversial Israel tweets, Democratic Representative Ilhan Omar is firing back at Trump. She tweeted Wednesday, "You have trafficked in hate your whole life against Jews, Muslims, indigenous, immigrants, black people, and more. I learned from people impacted by my words. When will you?" Omar recently found herself under the spotlight over her social media posts.
A freshman lawmaker is taking heat for remarks that critics are calling anti-Semitic.
Ilhan Omar appeared to criticize her colleagues for taking money from the Jewish lobby.
Trump called her apology lame, stating,
Anti-Semitism has no place in the United States Congress. And Congressman Omar is terrible, what she said. And I think she should either resign from Congress or she should certainly resign from the House Foreign Affairs Committee. What she said is so deep-seated in her heart that her lame apology, and that's what it was lame, and she didn't mean a word of it, was just not appropriate. I think she should resign from Congress.
Heat for remarks that critics are calling anti-Semitic.
Omar appeared to criticize her colleagues for taking money from the Jewish lobby.
That anti-Semitism has no place in the United States Congress. And Congressman Omar is terrible, what she said. And I think she should either resign from Congress or she should certainly resign from the House Foreign Affairs Committee.
Neolithic burial sites in the Iberian Peninsula indicate that they and humans shared tight relationships. The University of Barcelona reports that was the conclusion reached through the analysis of the remains of 26 dogs found in funerary structures from 4 sites in necropolises of the Barcelona region. It notes dogs were aged between 1 month and 6 years old and buried in circular graves together or near the humans, although some have been found separately in nearby graves and one was found at the entrance of the mortuary chamber. An isotope study suggests their diets were similar to those of humans and likely prepared by them. According to the university, the study allows reinforcing the idea that dogs played an important role in the economy of Neolithic populations, taking care of herds and settlements. That may be the vital relation that turned them into a companion in death or symbols in funerary rituals.
Any plans to build a bullet train between Northern and Southern California?
You look at other countries where they do it differently, and it's a whole different story. I was with the president of Finland, and he said, we have a much different, we're a forest nation. He called it a forest nation. And they spend a lot of time on raking and cleaning and doing things, and they don't have any problem. And when it is, it's a very small problem.
Truth is, I am Iron Man. I'm sorry, kid. You did good.
So now you're just gonna leave me here?